showtime, kid.
So I'm starting my review series on the Predator movies, leading up to the release of Prey that comes out on Friday of next week, August 5th. I thought I'd start, of course, the beginning with the original 1987 classic Predator. I'm going to be honest, there's not going to be a lot of negativity here. I haven't got much bad to say. I don't think I have anything at all bad to say about this movie. It's awesome. This is more of me professing my love for this movie and trying to sell anyone who has somehow not seen this movie yet into seeing it. But if you haven't seen it yet, and this movie's been out for 35 years, I'm not shying away from spoilers in this. But to be fair, I could spoil the entire movie, and I'm not doing it justice. You need to watch it. It's executed perfectly. It's nothing crazy as far as story goes. And it's a cool story, but it's nothing twist-wise that's gonna, I could ruin for you. However, if you haven't seen it, please, it's on Hulu, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's Hulu right now. Go watch it on Hulu and then come back and watch my video. Then you can make fun of me in the comments or agree with me, pat me on the back. That would be even better. So we'll dive into this. Let's see. Where do we start? I got notes here because otherwise I'm just going to ramble on. I'm probably going to ramble even with the notes. I think I already have. Bear with me. I'm still figuring the channel out, getting my voice. I didn't plan on doing this movie so early because I'm so fond of it. I wanted to kind of figure myself out before I got too deep into the classics and things I love. I want to do them justice, of course. It just seemed like an opportune time to do it. With Prey coming out so soon, I was like, I should address these movies, and I feel more comfortable talking about something like this. I did a review for Nope, and there's definitely room to grow. I was very quiet. Hopefully you can hear me better in this one. I adjusted the studio a little bit. Maybe the lights aren't so blinding. Made a desk, and I'm putting the work in. We're getting there. We're going to figure it out. So bear with me. Diving into movies that I love, I think, is probably a smart idea, though. I have plenty to say about it. I'm more comfortable talking about them.
You son of a bitch.
I'm not gonna go, bit by bit to this entire movie and break the entire thing down. I don't think that's kind of, watch the movie. I'm probably gonna get into it, and I could break the movie down. I'm pretty sure on numerous occasions that my buddies and I, after a few drinks at the bar, have in fact recited the entirety of this movie. So it's possible I could do that.
What the fuck?
Let's just start with the cast. You got, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger, in his heyday. This is 87, so, this is prime Arnold. Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed himself, right? More recently in The Mandalorian, Happy Gilmore, of course, he was great as Chubbs. Jesse the Body Ventura. His name's Jesse, and he's a badass. What else can I say? He was I believe, an ex-Navy SEAL, as well as a wrestler back in the day when this movie came out. So, very cool addition. Bill Duke, who had also been in Commando with Arnold, amongst many other things, but very cool dude. Sonny Ledlam, who is quite a legend, I think, on the set. They actually had to have a bodyguard on set, not to protect him, but to protect the other cast members from him. So that's a legend. And then there was the guy who played Poncho. I don't remember his name. And what was the girl's name? I can't remember her name or her character's name. Anna was her character's name. And Shane Black, of course, in it as well. But the heavies, let's talk about those heavy guys, man. They're all studs. Let me think. Where was it going with this? Yeah, they play into how the movie sets itself up, and I think is one of the strengths of the movie is that you think you're going into this. Well, you are going into a straight up 80s badass action movie that They don't play around. The movie starts pretty strong right out the gate. Arnold's given his mission basically, and him and his team go to this guerrilla camp and wipe everybody out. And I mean, they wipe them out like it's nothing. And this is old school 80s action, just carnage candy, awesome stuff, right? The explosions are all real. People are wearing squibs. People are flying through the air on fire. You can't do that stuff anymore. Well, maybe you can, but not to the extreme that they did back then. No CGI. This stuff is all legit. You got Jesse the Body Ventura running around with a minigun. Let's see. But that setup when they go into the camp, and I mean, it starts off, it's great with Arnold, goes up to a truck, loads an explosive charge into the back of it, and this truck's up on blocks that they're using it for a power source, basically. The wheels are turning, like, I think it's working a well, like a water well or something like that. Anyway, plants a charge and just straight, deadlifts the truck off the blocks and sends it careening into the camp. Explodes, and then they just unleash hell on these guys. And it's great because nobody aims a gun. These guys are all firing from the hips. They don't miss. You don't honestly believe that any of these guys are in danger. All these nameless guerrillas at this camp are like just wiped out. There's a lot of fantastic one-liners in there. And then after this scene, so they do this great build-up, and you just feel like you're already in a standard, if not glorious, 80s action movie where the heroes are invincible, basically, untouchable, and they're going to save the day. Quickly, once the Predator truly gets introduced into the movie, though, and it's right after this, it starts picking off each of these guys. And I mean like in succession. It's not like this drawn-out thing. Like I said in the note review, I like a movie that has a chance to breathe. And there are moments in here, I guess, where it gets to breathe, but it doesn't drag its feet at all. All these guys that you just found out, like, there's nobody on this planet that has a chance against them, are getting their asses handed to them and just dispatched one after another. Brutally at that.
We're all gonna die.
They didn't shy away from the violence in this, and I always like that kind of stuff too. Let's move on to the Predator since I brought it up, because this is where he comes into the movie. First of all, what a cool design. And what a cool character, because this isn't just a monster. This is something it's smart, probably smarter than us even, because it travels across space to hunt us. Like, that's what it does for sport. So, the technology that it has as well that's shown in the movie, all this stuff is far more advanced than we are. It's a really cool character, though. Like I said, not just a monster. It has its own code of honor, even. It doesn't just kill. It's not like, like the aliens would just, you're there to eat you, If you're not a threat, and if you're not sport, basically, for it, or, a challenge of some kind, it's not interested in hurting you or whatever. It'll just move on. Which, especially as a kid, growing up and seeing this movie, that always offered me a little bit of solace. Like, I'm like, I can take the Predator. I'm probably okay. If I ran into him, especially as a little skinny kid, he's not gonna, give a rat's ass about me.
No sport.
So, just looking back on the nostalgic side of things, there was always that peace of mind with the Predator. There's also a lot of cool behind-the-scenes stuff that we could get into about the creature design itself, because it's epic, and it still holds up so well today. Even when you see it in the movie now, viewing it 35 years later, it looks legit. Like, it's not, this is a silly guy in a suit. It is, but it's done so well, nobody would think twice about it. So, I know some of the old school, not old school, but the backstory on it was the original design, and you can find it online. I'm sure many of you already seen this, and also it was also supposed to be played by Jean-Claude Van Damme. Hilariously, he was insulted about having to play a monster, but I won't go into that too terribly much. There's Actually, a really good documentary. I think you can find it on YouTube. I'm sure it's in the DVD and Blu-rays. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it is. You can definitely find it on YouTube, and it's called If It Bleeds, We Can Kill It.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
And if you're a fan of the movie and you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth a watch. It's really fun. It's funny. All the guys talking about making the movie and what goes into it. You kind of can even appreciate it more if you needed a reason to. But I guess once it is showing up on set, like the original design, like everybody was like, oh man, we're screwed. This is going to ruin everything. You know, they'd already been shooting. So they stopped production. I think they ran out of money too or something. Don't quote me on that. But for some reason they were able to stop production. The design of the creature was definitely part of that. And Stan Winston, legendary Stan Winston, who had done Terminator with Arnold previously, also, you know, of course, went on to do Jurassic Park and Jumanji. He's done so much stuff. He's a legend. Fortunately, not with us anymore. But and I think he was doing Aliens, the sequel, Aliens. He designed the Queen Alien, if I'm not mistaken. And at the time, he was with James Cameron. You know, who did Terminator and you know, a lot of great stuff, obviously. But in Aliens, I think they were working together. And I think he had some input into the design of the Predator. But again, I can go down that rabbit hole and make multiple videos, I'm sure, about all that. So yeah, he came back. They created this amazing design that still holds up to this day. They're still making the movies. It still looks cool. And I mean, you know, that just I would say, I wouldn't say save the movie, but they couldn't have moved forward with the design that they had. So we covered the the cast, the creature, like the setup, and then kind of the switch up where this turns into I call it a horror movie, horror sci-fi for sure. But the switch is amazing. Like, it flips everything on its head. Like, from an action movie to, well, an action horror movie. It's still a very action-packed movie, but it's very scary too. And then there's the third act, and it's just Arnold versus the Predator. And it's epic. It's just Arnold's been stripped of, all of his weapons, his guns, his equipment. He's scared. He's wounded, and he has nothing but his pure grit, will to survive, and his resourcefulness to take on something that is physically more advanced, technologically more advanced, and he does it like straight up primal style, like. There's a whole montage in there of him, he's making spears, he builds a bow and arrow, he's setting up traps. And, of course we want him to win. He has to cover himself with mud. I didn't mention it earlier. Again, I'm not trying to cover the whole movie, but, the Predator sees in heat, which is kind of cheating. Anybody who plays Call of Duty knows you use thermals, that's cheating, right? I mean, I use them because I'm old and I can't see as good, but... So he can see in heat. Arnold discovers that he covers himself in this mud. I mean, it just adds to everything, this whole aesthetic of him covered in mud with a bow and arrow, fighting an alien headhunter. And we want Arnold to win. We're rooting for him, of course. This is like, Arnold's always the hero back in the day, especially back then, except for when he was the Terminator. You know what I mean? But there's doubt. Like, I remember you're watching this, and it's like, his whole team, and these guys were all monsters. These dudes were studs. They were beasts. There was not a question in my mind that at any given time during filming that any of these guys didn't have a half-eaten deer in their trailer. But the final battle is a good back and forth. Like, Arnold gets the upper hand for a minute. Like, at least it seems like he does. And then the Predator takes it back. And then the Predator kicks Arnold's ass. Whoops him. Arnold tries to fight back. It's like a kid fighting his dad. There's nothing there. There's no chance. And it's cool because, the Predator decides, like, hey, we're going to go head to head. You don't have any weapons, fine. Drops all of his tech. He takes off his laser cannon, takes off his mask, and you get the great reveal of that face.
You won. Ugly motherfucker.
The iconic Predator face that is just horrifying. and he wants to kill him with his bare hands. And then again, he continues to beat Arnold's ass, which is, at the time that just wasn't a thing. I mean, Arnold might get shot in movies and just flinch it off. So seeing him get tossed around by this giant thing was, it was a change for sure. But at the end of the day, Arnold is able to, after he's crawling, he's whimpering, he's able to lure the Predator into one of his traps. And he's able to defeat him. And the cool little next, I won't say twist, but the next little thing they threw in the mix was the Predator activates like a miniature nuke and sets off this, huge explosion. And I never read into it too much, I guess, but I just figured it was to erase any, trace. They did that way they can keep coming back and hunting, So, well, I died. That doesn't mean I have to ruin it for everybody else. So I'll just blow up this chunk of the rainforest and nobody will know I was here, aside from the gigantic nuclear hole. And then, you get this, the cool shot of Arnold he's posed up and victorious, of course. He's all jacked up, but he won. And he's rescued by a helicopter that is, in fact, piloted by the Predator.
What the?
The man who played the Predator, Kevin Peter Hall. And I thought that was really cool. They throw that nice little touch in there. This poor dude's been in makeup, and not makeup, but I guess it's been makeup and a costume out there in the jungle. God knows how horrible and hot that had to be. So the director was nice enough to hey man, we'll get your face on screen. And not only that, but the guy that played the Predator is going to be the one that comes in and saves Arnold Schwarzenegger. So yeah, I mean, it's just a great movie. It's got no fat. There's no love story subplot. There's very little subplot at all. It's just a direct movie, action, adventure, horror, sci-fi movie, and it's just made very, very well, and it moves along. The pace is amazing. I will watch that movie anytime. If I were to walk into the other room right now and Predator was on, I will sit there and finish it, and I always will. I couldn't tell you how many times I've seen this movie and how many times I will see this movie. I love it. The director, John McTiernan, fantastic director as well, because I think it was a year after this he gave us easily one of the best Christmas movies ever, Die Hard, Fight Me. And then he's done other stuff. He did 13th Warrior. He did Basic. It was a really cool movie too. And so there's not many movies I would say are perfect. I don't think I can say any movie is perfect, but I can say some that are very close. I got a handful of them, and I'll mention them as I review them. This is up there though. This is it's just a great movie. This is a movie you go sit in the theater, eat popcorn, and you're into it, and it's really fun. So I'd say 9.5, hands down. I'm not going to say 10. I don't think I'll ever say. I might have one movie I'll say 10 on. But yeah, we'll get to that sometime. So let's see. I'll be covering up the rest of the week with 3 more Predator movies, and getting to Prey next weekend.
Stick around.
Yeah. So do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe, please. Let me know what you think. I'm still working on things, working on the audio, working on my presentation, how I, feeling this all out. So bear with me, of course. I will take constructive criticism. I'm not going to be easily insulted. Don't be a dick, though. Also, do me a favor, check out my brother's channel. I'll put a link in the description. I'll try and put a card up. I'm not promising. I'm going to figure that out right now. It'll definitely be in the description below. He does reviews, reactions, a lot of other fun stuff on his channel as well. He does taste tests, and he's into Funko. He got me into Funkos, and actually probably most of these are gifts from him and my sister or my buddy Brandon. But he does Funko unboxing. He's kind of a Funko hunter, I guess. But he also does a lot of stuff in movies and taste tests. They're actually pretty fun to watch, and he has a lot more content than I do. So that's a fun rabbit hole to go down. So check it out, please, and join me again in the next probably couple of days. I'll have Predator 2 up, and we'll see you then.